Hey everyone, my name is David, here again in an episode of X-Wing Versus, and today I will be talking about a jamming build that I came up with, and this is especially fun considering on Monday this week a spoiler article released on Fantasy Flight's website about the new TIE Reaper coming up, which has the jamming action on it. Before I jump further into the video, I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate you guys watching these videos, and if you really like my content, please consider subscribing so that way you can get notifications as soon as I create a new video, or also sharing this video, helping more people who you know that like X-Wing taking part in these discussions. I really value having everyone's opinion and as many as opinions for as many wow, that's really awkward sentencing. But basically, whoever is willing to share their opinion with me, I am willing to hear it and, consider it. Alright, so first things first. Right now, the only way for someone to be jammed is from the jamming beam, which is a 1-point cannon upgrade, which can only attack at range 1 to 2. And if the attack hits, it forces the opponent to discard either a focus, evade, or blue target lock token, and they discard the token of their choice. The one downside to this is it deals absolutely no damage, or at least outright damage. So it's not surprising that I know, at least in my local meta here in Idaho, East Idaho, I have never seen anyone fly this or include this cannon upgrade in their builds. Recently, in a friendly game against an opponent, I included the jamming beam, and I was surprised at how effective it was in just being able to deny that action to my opponent, especially combined with all the stress that I was giving him. His quick draw was unable, pretty much throughout the entire game, to take an action. So that's just kind of the potential that the jamming beam has. Well, the jamming beam has that potential, but more importantly, the jamming action will have even greater potential too. And this is why, for me, especially because I play the Empire, I'm really excited for this build. And if you're an Imperial player, you should also be super excited for this build, because you get access to jamming your opponent without actually having to use an attack to deal that token. So it'll be a great day when that happens. I know I will be able to ruin my opponent's action economy and then actually be able to hit them afterward. So basically, if you're an Imperial player, the Empire will be striking back. So that said, should everyone start using jamming beam? Well, let's face it, really, no. Especially if you're thinking competitively, or simply if you can actually afford a cannon that actually does damage or reduces their agility and can put them on an asteroid, like the tractor beam. It's probably worth it to put those cannons on in most situations. And like I said, if you're an Imperial player, just wait for the TIE Reaper and you'll be able to deal that reliably, at least in a competitive match. So now I'm going to share with you the build that I used when I discovered how effective the jamming token is. So I had a Lambda Shuttle and 2 TIE interceptors. And just on the surface, just from that, you can tell this build is very thematic because, of course, I included those 2 TIE interceptors had the Royal Guard title. So it only made sense that they'd be escorting a Lambda Shuttle. And by the way, it did not have Palpatine on it, but of course, you can feel free to do that. But I just thought it was very appropriate and thematic. And I don't recommend this build for tournaments. But it was still really fun, and if you're wondering what the jamming beam or jamming token can do, this can be a fun way to experiment with that. So the first ship in this build is a TIE Interceptor with Soontir Fel. If you played X-Wing for a while, you know this living legend. When he receives a stress token, he gets a free focus token, and that's important. A free focus token, meaning that it is assigned to him. He is not performing the free action. And I use the classic Soontir Fel build. with the stealth device, auto thrusters, and push the limit. And so with all the green on the TIE Interceptor's dial, having that stress token every turn isn't really a concern because you're able to shed it pretty effectively. And so it still makes it hard for your opponent to guess where you're going to be. The second pilot in this build is Carnor Jax. So he's pilot skill 8. And what's really fun with him is his pilot ability lets him prevent enemy ships at range 1 from taking focus or evade actions, and also ships at range 1 of him cannot spend their focus or evade tokens while attacking. So if you have a target lock, you can still use that. But basically, if it's any other token, you're not going to get to use it. And so this is good, but the trick is you have to be at range 1, and like any other TIE Interceptor build that tries to be competitive, he has the exact same loadout as Soontir Fel, with the push the limit, the auto thrusters, and the stealth device, and of course the Royal Guard title as well. So you can have both those modifications. And again, it's a bit of a bummer taking that stress token every turn, but again, there is so much so much green on the TIE Interceptor's dial, it really isn't that much of a concern. And as you can see, as you're about to see with the star of this build, Captain Yor, that is a bit less of a concern. So the great thing with Captain Yor is he can take stress tokens from friendly ships at range 1 to 2 if he doesn't have too many stress tokens on him already. And so this is excellent for your TIE Interceptors because that means they can do a K turn and then still be able to take their 3 actions, which is a very nice option. And also just a fun thing with Lambda Shuttles is that they have 0 maneuvers, so they are really good at bumping. And so to kind of take advantage of that, I put anti-pursuit lasers on him, which you roll a die, and if it's a hit or a crit, the opponent suffers that damage. And also, again, ion projectors is another consideration if you have that available to you. Another great thing about Lambda Shuttles is all the options for crew that you get, because there's 2 crew slots available. And so in my build, I put an intelligence agent so I can look at my opponent's dials, kind of know what they were doing, and plan accordingly my strategies. And this is where I placed the jamming beam. So jamming beam, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that it takes your cannon slot and is in place of your attack isn't the best, but the reason why I chose it is because, let's say I use tractor beam. So tractor beam has the advantage because it can attack at ranges 1, 2, 3. And so you can attack so it'll hit out all ranges, but the thing is, because the Carnor Jax and Soontir Fel attack at pilot skill 8 and 9, by the time Captain Yor attacks at pilot skill 4, reducing your opponent's agility isn't really that as useful. It is not useful anymore. Sure, you might be able to barrel them onto an asteroid or something, but again, chances are they've already attacked, and that is also very situational. So I figured, what the heck, why not try the jamming beam, because at least then that token will either force them to discard in a token, and I assumed by then my opponent would have, if they were saving their focus or target lock for attack, they would have already spent it. And if they've already spent all their tokens, then it has to stay on for the next turn. So the reason I chose it over tractor beam is because I thought that chances are it would be more persistent, the effect of the jamming beam, compared to the tractor beam. And in my game, it worked out for me. Like I said earlier, my opponent's quick draw was absolutely unable to take any actions the rest of the game. Not just because of the jamming beam, but because of the stress token. The stress tokens they were receiving from the other crew in this build, which was the Rebel Captive. And again, Rebel Captive, that deals a stress token to the first ship that attacks them each turn, and in the case of a Lambda Shuttle, you can basically guarantee you're going to be attacked every turn. So it just helps you take advantage of that. And it's really quick, guys, and again, just recapping this build, it is a fun thematic build which you can use to play around with how the jamming token might be useful to you. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.